Smart 24, driving business.
Hey there, a very good morning and welcome to STARTIMES Business this morning. It's a Friday and definitely I'm Andrew Bariji going to be driving you all the way with Masi Katsime. It's the 28th of July and yes, we're heading into the weekend and I understand the week has not really been the best, very upset for those that probably might not have encountered the best what they have probably anticipated in all aspects of life. It could be socio-economic and also some other political perspectives, but definitely here on STARTIMES Business, we stand with you to tell you that, well, everything is going to be fine. And of course, heading straight to the business fraternity, still the same. I understand some weeks may not be really the best. You can enter into the weekend, what you really anticipated is not what is the outcome by this today, Friday. Yes, Masi, good morning. How are you?
Well, good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Uganda, East Africa, and entire globe. Of course, we are here to give you the very best of what you expect on a daily, because we are your daily kickstart. And of course, we hope that your Friday is kicking in well. Hope you woken up early. I was telling someone earlier in the morning that Friday is always a hard day for me to my hardest day of the week to wake up.
The hardest of the week to wake up.
Because psychologically, my mind is really weekend. It's in the weekend mood. So definitely, waking up is usually so hard for me. But I hope if you're out there and you're just like me, please get out of that bed. Get out of that bed.
It's time to go work.
Go make money. Tomorrow will be a day for entirely for resting. So definitely, I urge everyone out there to start your day with STARTIMES Business on Smart 24 TV.
Well, absolutely. And it's quite very interesting that majority of the people that we actually look up to, majority of the billionaires and all that, by 4, 5 people already out in there. If you can actually get onto the road and take a look at what vehicles are really moving at that time, you will be surprised. So definitely, that's why it's very important for you to really consider time. You see, a billionaire and the poorest person you can ever imagine have the same time. Have this one thing in common, that is time.
That is time, but of course you realize they sleep much, that their sleeping space is between 4 hours, 4, 5, 6 hours.
Yeah, 6 hours is
6 hours.
Yeah, 6 hours.
They are busy.
7.
They sleep maybe at midnight and wake up at 4. So definitely, they are always thinking. They're always thinking, even in their sleep. I believe they're thinking, but they're
dreaming ideas.
You didn't get any money, you're sleeping comfortably. That is when the sleep kicks in very well.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, tomorrow you won't have anywhere to go munage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on top of that, we have quite lots of stories that we're going to be definitely having discussions over here on the show today. And of course, before we go any further, I would love to remind you it's a Friday and it's always important to kickstart your day as you invest in government bonds and securities. And of course, Zabo is here to avail that opportunity for you. It's a platform from Alltex East Africa, which has made your trading experience of stocks and bonds much more easy. Now, for you to be a part of this, it's quite very simple. You just start 292 hash, which is the USSD code, which will avail with a number of options where you will be in position to actually buy government bonds and securities for a fee of just 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, the markets are going to be opening at 8:15, running all the way to 3:15 p.m. East African time. And this was effective up from Monday, actually, up to today, Friday, which is the last day of the week for the markets to really operate. You remember, the markets don't operate on weekends and the public holidays. That this week we had no public holiday. Actually, we had all the way, and today is the last day for the week for the markets to be operating. Zabo made this a reality, and it simply says, my money, my future. And the Alltex East Africa tells you, do something new for yourself. Remember, it is the year 2023. Well, before we get into our morning call, there is something what happened yesterday at the summit in Russia. And I saw something which was posted about, you remember when the presidents went to the UK, to the United States. I mean, they weren't given the ultimate treatment, but when they go to Russia, I mean, this is interesting. I mean, this shows you how the the Eastern Bloc is really trying to get into. And one thing I knew about the Eastern Bloc, the Communist Bloc, there are more. Okay, I understand it's all about sharing resources wholly, but there is this aspect of dictatorship that comes alongside that. But as one of the ways of them trying to attract most of the African continents, they are applying some sorts of friendly approaches. And actually, such approaches like theirs have been commonly used by the Westerners, by the Western nations, the capitalist nations. And they're adapting that kind of a scheme. And it's very surprising that these nations can't really see how really these nations are heading into this direction of the Eastern Bloc. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day, as long as we experience economic growth.
I believe maybe the transportation could be an issue for them, but I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, they wanted.
For Christ's sake, this is a president.
I mean, things work differently for every country. If you come in a plane, like you may go in a bus. The other countries. So definitely, if you are used to the princess treatment in your home, definitely, once you get out of your home, it's a different story. But
you're president. That only works for a normal citizen.
I believe that time when
He's
it was the Queen's, was it the Queen's burial?
Burial, yes.
And maybe that was the easiest means to get them all together in one to avoid the traffic. And
okay, let me ask, if it was other presidents from other countries, from Germany, I'm looking at, would they treat them the same way?
I really don't know. Really, I think one of some Kenyan, I don't know, legislators mentioned it, the way they treat African presidents when they get to the other countries. Is not really appropriate. If you see the cars Russia gave in when the president arrived, the kind of welcome he got.
I saw.
We are so glad he didn't actually go to the UK.
Actually, I was watching an image here on Twitter, and oh God, hope we could put it there. But it could definitely really give you a picture of the treatment. I mean, the executive, because there's a president. I mean, would you treat the same way if other leaders, if the president of China was there, if the the prime minister of Japan was there, if we had the German chancellor there, would they be treated the same?
I don't think.
Okay. Well, this very moment now, as we head into our morning call, we'll take a look at Uganda's coffee exports. Of course, we see something to do with coffee exports volumes and value rise in year that is coming in June. Now, Robusta coffee exports accounted for about 87%, that is of the total exports, higher than 64%, that is in May 2023. Now, of course, according to further discussions in relation to this has been really largely attributed to the increase in the coffee production, most especially in the southwestern part of the country, Uganda. And also, there has been anticipations that is for Brazil's output not to, to really be of that much value, as we're going to take a look at this further report. Of course, the report says that a total of about 563,832 60 kilo bags were exported last month, ranking 90.56 million. Now, this indicates an increase from 530,365 60 kilo bags shipped out of the country. That is in June 2022, valued at $83.79 million. That is equivalent to about 303 billion Ugandan shillings. Now, last month, Uganda exported 489,597 bags of Robusta coffee, bringing in 73.88 million in revenue, while 16.8 million was realized from 74,235 bags of Arabica coffee shipped out of the country over the period under review. Now, this was an increase of about 6.31% and 8.08% in quantity and value, respectively, compared to the same last year. That's the Uganda Coffee Development Authority monthly report for June shows those figures. Now, the volumes exported in June this year were over 10% compared to last June, while earnings inched up to 21, that is 0.16%, and there was a 13.85 drop for Arabica coffee exports during the period, while the value was also down by 26.89%. Now, the Uganda Coffee Development Authority attributes the growth of the exported and earnings realized partly on account of a good harvest in the southwestern region and the prevailing good prices on the global scene. You know, the prices of the coffee were actually very friendly, which prompted exporters to release their stocks. Now, it notes that the decrease in Arabica coffee value was due to anticipation of the high output that is from Brazil in the coffee year 2023-2024, where harvesting is moving at a faster rate due to favorable harvesting conditions. Now, the average export price during the reporting period was about $2.68 dollars. That is about 9,709 shillings per kilo, which was 1 US cent lower than in May 2023. That is about $2.69 a kilo. Now, it was 5 cents higher than that of June in 2022, and Robusta coffee exports accounted for 87% of total exports, higher than 64% in May 2023, and the average Robusta coffee price was $12.51 per kilogram and 19 cents higher than 2.32. Well, I think like how the president has been really emphasizing the aspect of value addition. Now, if we can actually have such revenues coming in from coffee, and this is exported in a raw format, so how much more if we can actually have it processed efficiently, we can actually get much more money than that, because we do too much hard work only to get little money. $2.9 a kilogram.
Wow, $2.9?
Dollars. Actually, it's 2.68. $2.68. You know, that's about 9,709.
No, that's little.
That's quite little as compared to the people that we're exporting this coffee to, and they're going to return it back to us with added value, and we pay more money, so we are losing more foreign currency. I mean, because we shall have to use the foreign currency to purchase those items from those other countries. So it's quite a huge challenge. And these are some of the aspects that I experienced, some of the challenges that I experienced with nations that deal in raw materials when it comes to attracting foreign revenues. And, that explains why the shilling is always being devaluated against the dollar for quite a longer time. But once we actually perfect this, I believe we shall be in position to actually make some good profits, and this will be enhancing the revenue of the country. Well, that is it for our morning call at this very point in time. Well, of course, now let's switch our eyes and we take a look at what's making headlines into the press. I've got the New Vision with me, and Marcy Kutsumi has the Daily Monitor, as we're going to be checking quite some of the reviews. Maybe just a brief here on what is happening on the top page. Of course, we can see President Museveni meets Putin, and President Yoweri Museveni with his Russian counterpart. This is Vladimir Putin. That is during the second Russia-Africa Summit in St. Petersburg. And of course, that was yesterday. In his address while opening the summit, President Putin reiterated Russia's commitment to enhancing trade, talking about enhancing trade, economic gains, and humanitarian cooperation with Africa. And he also expressed hope that the summit will contribute to the realization of these goals. You can take a look at the meeting in here, and this is quite a very positive aspect there. And of course, 350 FDC leaders meet over crisis. Of course, you've known it's been all over the media, crisis, and now 350 leaders meet over that. And police deploys at Najanankumbi, of course, to thwart chaos happening in there. Of course, with when you see such aspects, we've been having threats of terrorism. So any chaos that is being created in some of the areas for security purposes, if you're a security professional, you will definitely anticipate something is moving on. Now, LC's term, MPs approve extension. I think it was 6 months.
Yes, for
6 months extension. Then, of course, harvesting money section. Of course, they show you how aflatoxins affect grain sector. yes, how they're affecting the grain sector, of course, reducing the profitability in there, but definitely in there you'll be finding quite solutions that are necessary so that you can actually stop experiencing that massive excess loss.
And of course, in the Daily Monitor, it's quite the same headlines, and of course, Parliament.
President
Museveni meets Putin, Africa peace term on Ukraine, and of course, Parliament endorses extension of LC tenure, and of course, the big stories that have been happening in the political world it is make or break
for FDC. Yeah,
right.
350 leaders meet over that crisis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time I look at Nandera Mafabi, I remember he's quite a funny, fun character.
Okay, now, of course, something very interesting here. Miracle Center Cathedral wedding, 60 couples.
Oh.
And I remember when the Uganda Registration Services Bureau was actually putting out, giving a report for the previous year. Some of the journalists were actually concerned, asking, why are we having increased marriages?
Civil marriages?
Both, because either way you have to get a certificate.
Because, I mean, why wouldn't you want to... It's a thing. It's really a thing. People want weddings. Do you know the thing someone told me one day? If you ever want to make a woman happy, wed her.
Wed her.
Wed her.
But there are financial
woman,
constraints involved in that. I mean,
I must say,
it's just that we get it wrong. We get a wrong picture.
Yes, we got a wrong picture about the whole expenditure of wedding.
Honestly, why are you spending 800? This is not an investment. You're spending 800 million.
Depending on the was it audience, the visitor. I don't know. Are they called visitors? People that attend your wedding. The guests, really. Depending on your guests. If your guests are these high-end people, definitely you'll have to have a party of that amount, because they are going to contribute towards that. I'm very sure if we got, God forbid, but if we got into another lockdown, people would have, what were they called? These weddings.
Scientific weddings.
Scientific weddings. I would vouch for it. I would definitely go for a scientific wedding, because I know it is between
But you can still make it.
No, not now, because now, you see, the fact that then parents would be able to be like, oh, maybe we could just add one person or two. But now, the whole village has to attend.
Okay, that is distributing income. Anyway, of course, still in the new vision, further as you proceed, actually, you see Putin's more details about the visitation, what happened, at the summit, the Russia summit there. So you can see some of the some insights deeper, as we can see quite a number of presidents in there. Then, of course, NRA documentary, that is the National Resistance Army documentary, is a turning point for Africa, says the envoy. So definitely I can see here the first daughter, Natasha, Edwin Karugire, Joa Mwezi, and Taemwa at the premiere of the NRA documentary at Arena Mall in Zambia, Kampala yesterday. Yeah, of course, talking about liberation-related aspects in there. What happened during that time, and of course we saw something about the members of parliament approve extension of LC's term of office, 6 months. No, actually terms of office, not extending the elections. I mean to be extension of LC's term of office. So you'll find out further details when you get that. And yes, vocational institutions warned that is against unauthorized assessments. Actually, when I was with the ED of Uganda Manufacturers Association, was talking about one of the aspects on how to see that Uganda's productivity in the region stands out. We need to have most of this labor force being trained in certain, probably vocational institutes to equip them with the relevant skills. Okay, it's exactly 20 minutes now, and the images that you're observing in there are coming in from Ntinda Bukoto Route. That is the Kira Road junction, as you can actually get to observe there. It seems to be a mild congestion, don't know that much, but it's actually is mild. Talking about it's not static actually, it's in motion. It's jump but in motion. It's not static, being stuck in one area. Of course, you'll have to be patient. I'm not saying that it's going to, still you'll experience some delays, but you can see it's a little slightly in motion. But of course, when you take a look at the junction in there, it's quite, there is some sort of disorganization in there, vehicles coming in from the different routes, joining in the main route here, the Ntinda-Bukoto route, heading to, of course, the different destinations, as you can see. Now, in such a state, if the situation is not put into control, in the next few minutes, it's going to become static. See that?
Wow. Today it's busy.
I don't know how you found it as you were coming.
Well, it wasn't that busy. The fact that we're coming from where Wandigea, Sao Paulo, it wasn't that. I think, yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't that much. People tend to be relaxed on Fridays. Get to work a bit late.
Late.
Yeah. So for this case, wow.
And they get busy in the evening.
And people travel. Actually, tend to travel Fridays.
Friday nights.
Yeah.
It's always
even mornings. They going up country to make sure maybe there by midday or they get there and execute their.
But their duties and wow, quite a number of private vehicles here as compared to the public vehicles, and well, not yet seen a traffic officer online on ground rather to make sure that they put this traffic under control. But well, it's in the next probably 10 to 20 minutes it might get static, and if you're coming in from areas of Ntinda-Bukoto and you probably plan to come to town, well, you could think of another alternative. You could actually link to the Lugogo bypass here, the route adjacent to the route we are observing in there, and you can actually be in position to connect efficiently as you head towards those premises. Yes, that's the Kira Road junction there. Yes, connecting, of course, the people that are heading to town, people heading to Ntinda, the people that are heading to Nakawa, And remember, Ntinda-Bukoto is both a working place. Some people have their businesses in there, there are companies that have offices in there, but also there are residential areas at the same time, the people that actually stay there. So as much as some people are leaving, from Ntinda-Bukoto heading to town to do work, run their businesses, well, some are actually coming in from town, heading to the same direction to go and do business. So you can see that can really be impactful in terms of the degree of congestion when it comes to the financial value that has to be attached to the different activities that we execute. A few school children in there reporting to school. Actually, they're about to get to holidays. I think they're left with only about 2 weeks. 25th will be the official date for majority of the schools to close, and they are also some of the reasons why we see some congestions to some extent, to some degree, most especially at the early in the first 2 weeks when they actually have just reported. Well, that is it for our traffic updates this morning. It's 25 minutes past 7. And of course, you're still watching Smart Means Business, your daily kickstarter. I'm Anji Ubareje, but definitely before we get into the break, I would love to remind you to kickstart your day with investing, and that is in government bonds and securities with Zabu, a platform from Altex East Africa. We just made your trading experience much more easy and friendly. Now, for you to be a part of this, it's quite very simple. Just dial *292#. And you'll be available with a number of options where you will be able to buy government bonds and securities for a fee of just 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now the markets will be opening at exactly 8:15 a.m. and they'll be running all the way to 3:15 p.m. East African time. This is effective Monday up to Friday, apart from the weekends and the public holidays when these markets cannot be accessed. But of course, despite that, you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make yourself quite some unique profits. Something which I believe is very key and instrumental when it comes to your financial development as an individual and as an entrepreneur that has a vision. And remember, on top of *292#, you have to register with your national identification number for you to proceed efficiently. Now, Zabu simply says, my money, my future, and Altex East Africa tells you, do something new for yourself. Remember, it is the year 2023. Well, right about now, let's get into the break, and when we return, we shall be taking a look at what's happening onto the international community. Caribbean East Africa, much more of that.